Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Kayla, Noah's wife, and I have the pleasure of sharing how God has saved me and transformed my life. Like the women, when they've heard that Jesus had risen, I'm also running with great joy to tell all the good news of Jesus Christ. I was raised in a loving Christian home, attending church weekly. Now, I can't quite give an exact date when I remember being saved, to be honest. I can't even remember a time when Christ wasn't in my life. However, I do remember each retreat, conference, and service where they asked those who wanted to come up and give their life to Christ. Every time I was given the opportunity to give my life to Christ, I took it over and over again. I struggled for years, being unsure if that time worked and if I was truly saved. I would come to the front, say the prayer, be on fire for the Lord the following weeks, and then life would get busy and I would fall back into my old habits and start to think that it didn't work. Maybe I didn't have enough faith, or I didn't pray honestly enough. I started to wonder if maybe it was just that I was a teenager and that once I got out of high school, maybe even going abroad, that following God would suddenly become easier. So I went to Mexico after high school, where I did get closer to God, but I still struggled with faith. Then I came back and went to my old habits, although I was still somewhat following God a bit better, reading the Word more consistently and praying. Then there was an upcoming baptism at my old church, and I thought, I'm 18, I'm doing pretty good in my walk with God, I'm somewhat consistent, and I'm at the age where I should be baptized. I've been a Christian my whole life, why not? So I decided to go through with it. And as I was getting baptized, I came out of the water, and I realized my head didn't fully go under and thought maybe it didn't work. Maybe I wasn't actually baptized. Maybe I won't become a stronger, more faithful Christian. Maybe I will still struggle with faith and being certain about my salvation. What I didn't fully understand was that the work was already finished. God had already finished the work. It wasn't about how often I prayed or read my Bible, nor was it about if I felt that I was saved or not. Once I truly believed that God sent his Son down to take upon the sins of the world and die for me, then I would be saved. Not by my doing, but by his gift of grace through faith alone. After that point, I continued walking with God, still with doubt, but wanting to be done with that doubt. I wanted to be certain that I was saved. As a child, one of the first verses that I had memorized was Hebrews 11:1. Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. This verse has been close to my heart as I've always struggled with that faith part. I struggled when I didn't feel God or when I didn't hear his voice clearly. One day I was praying to God, asking him to reveal himself to me. Give me a sign, show me that you're real. Show me something so I can know that I am truly saved. I can't live with this doubt any longer. And with a whisper, I heard him tell me that I am. It wasn't through a big sign, but through his quiet voice asking for my faith. From then on, I could confidently say that I am saved, not through anything that I have done, but only through his sacrifice and gift of grace. Being multilingual, you notice how some languages have more than one word for explaining something. During a morning devotional, someone once shared how in French there are two words for knowing, savoir and connaître. Savoir is to know something, an object, a fact, but connaître is to know someone. Growing up, I knew of God, je savais. But now I know him personally, je connais Jésus. I now have a personal relationship with him. Now when it came to getting baptized again, I wasn't sure if that was what God was calling me to do, again the doubting. For years I wrestled with this. During the last baptism service, I was really considering it, but I didn't feel like God was calling me to it yet. However, 2 weeks ago, I really felt God tugging at my heart. So after Manuel's message on fasting, I fasted all Monday. I prayed and asked God for a sign, but nothing. I told Noah that I couldn't decide, that I was starting to get hungry from the fasting. It was 7:30 and I was desperate for God to give me something. And Noah said, what if no big sign is the sign? Faith is what he calls us to have. I was frustrated with his answer because I really wanted that big sign, but I knew that he was right. I struggled for years because I really wanted that big sign, but I knew that he was right. I struggled with it for years with my faith, making my feelings or a sign from God the foundation of my faith. But now I understand that feelings can't be the foundation of our faith. Only Christ can be the foundation. Faith is believing who Jesus is and what he did without the need for a sign, message, nor a feeling. God had made it clear in my heart that he was calling me to follow him with faith. So here I am, demonstrating the faith that he has called me to have, and I can confidently say that I am saved through faith alone, even though I cannot see him. I know wholeheartedly that God demonstrated his great love for us and sent his Son to die for my sins. While we were powerless to save ourselves from our sin, which separated us from a relationship with him, Christ died so that in his death and resurrection we could have a relationship with him. Nothing I could ever do could repay him for what he did for me. All I can give him is my life, and I will do my best to do what he wants for my life. While I know I will continue to fail and drift away with the busyness of life, I stand here knowing that I am saved in Jesus, not by my doing, but through his sacrifice alone. Nothing can separate me from God's love now that I am his. Since giving my life to Jesus, living with him brings purpose to it. Even though I still struggle with anxiety, I have joy like no other. His joy gives me strength to face the trials of this life. I can walk with confidence even when my future is uncertain or does not look like how I planned, because his way and his plan is better than I could ever imagine.
Kayla, do you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and that by believing in him, you will have life in his name?
Yes, I do.
Upon that profession of faith, I now baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.